Hi, y'all. Emily from the future by about like 2 to 3 weeks, to be honest with you. I am hiding out in my theater room to record this introduction. I'm super excited about this episode that I'm recording with Jenny. It's going to be the first of two, actually, and it's in regards to the lies we face when we are eating carnivore. You know, the lie of, oh, I can have a cheat meal, the lie of just one bite, the lie of, I feel nauseous, so I need to have something to cover the nausea, something sweet, something carby, white, whatever it is, like all the lies. And often we don't realize these things are lies. Now, I could have tackled this video on my own, but I love Jenny. I think she's amazing. She's super encouraging. She carries a lot of wisdom in the carnivore space. So here we are, a couple of women in the carnivore community having a chat about the lies that we face at times, transitioning to carnivore, being on carnivore at times, or even previous to carnivore that we didn't even realize we were falling victim to. So without further ado, here is that episode. Have fun, y'all. Hey, Jenny, welcome back to my channel.
Hi. Hey, Emily.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Okay, so I'm super excited today for what we're talking about. This has been something that's been building for me for over about 6 months. So as we know, about 17, 18 months ago, I started going off the rails with carnivore for a while. And I've been back on since January 1 and it's going well. And in the last sort of 6 months of that stint, I started to recognize my thought life and what was going on. And I started to recognize that in two areas of my day. One was I will have eaten something, like we'd go out to dinner and, I will have had something and it could have been healthy, fruits and vegetables included. Afterwards, I would feel sick and I'm like, why do I forget the way that this makes me feel? So I would recognize in that moment that something wasn't right. And then the other moment that I recognized was I would be, driving down the road, going somewhere and I'm like, oh, I could stop for a donut. And I'm like, oh, but I want to eat carnivore. And then I'm like, well, no one will know. And I'm like, that's interesting. And then I was like, but it's only one. And so in those moments, I was like, oh, that's actually a really big lie. And then I realized there's all of these lies in this space. And, I've called this episode Carnivore Lies. But what we're going to discover is that these aren't just lies when we're on carnivore. These could be lies for any way somebody is eating. And they're not necessarily carnivore lies, but they're lies that prevent us from doing what we want to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. And that's why I've actually called them carnivore lies. Most of the people on this channel want to or are eating carnivore. And so when they are presented with a lie and they follow through with what that lie has told them, they're then eating something that is taking them away from carnivore and away from achieving the goals that they've set for themselves for the reason why they're eating a carnivore lifestyle. Do you have any thoughts around that?
That I love how you said that. That is so true. It's things that most people struggle with, the nagging thoughts that are really trying to get us to fall through the cracks, fall down. So let's get into some of the ones we've talked about that we can talk about today on our show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start with the very first one. It's one that I deal with a lot, and I'm actually dealing with today. I stupidly took some cold and flu medication. Apparently, it's supposed to help clear up your nasal passageways if you're a bit blocked in your head. So when you stand up, you don't get like this weird pressure. And I'm like, oh no, it'll be okay. Like, it doesn't have the sorbitol and the xylitol in it that I can't have. Even though I knew it's cold and flu category, I probably shouldn't take it. So I took one little tablet and I'm partway through work and all of the symptoms come. But the one symptom that really gets me is the nausea. And so if I'm feeling nauseous, let's say I have eaten something that isn't carnivore and that something made me nauseous. So whatever the reason is that I'm feeling nauseous, I'm like, I want to cover the nausea. I want to get rid of the nausea. So I'm like, oh, I'm nauseous. I need to have something. And that something's typically not meat. It's typically like, oh, I need some white toast or some white rice or something like that. So, what I've recognized with that is the lie is I need to cover it or I need to have something to deal with the nausea. Well, no, I can let the nausea pass. I can sip slowly on water. Like the truth is that the nausea will pass. And actually, for me and for many who have IBS, eating the non-carnivore foods will actually cause the nausea to return again hours later. Do you have any thoughts about the lie of I need to deal with the nausea?
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with that too. So yeah, because you want to eat something sweet. Do you want to eat chocolate or some kind of candy or something like that? You, in my experience, when you feel nausea, and I've dealt with the IBS also. It was horrible before I switched my diet. Yeah, yeah, that's a big one. So it helps to be in a group, in an alliance with,
Yes,
to get through these things. Yeah.
absolutely. As
Mhm.
as far as dealing with the nausea as well, there's several things that I do that help. So I will sip on plain seltzer water. I will, chicken is a really good one, like plain chicken, whether it's steamed or something, um, as opposed to like fried. So it's like real soft, the moisture's still in there. Um, and then one of the other things that helps if I can do it is I'll go to bed. Um, Another thing, actually, and I'm testing it right now, is this. This is called a relief band. It's for motion sickness and it sends a little electrical pulse through your wrist into your fingers. And I got this for a Christmas present, and it's definitely helping.
Oh, really? That's great. That's
Hmm.
so good. Can you get them on Amazon? I've seen things like that.
Not on. I don't think on Amazon, but you can definitely get it on a on. I think it's reliefband.com. But if you go into Google and you type in relief band, I don't have a discount code or anything for it. We literally just stumbled across it and are trying it. And yeah, it's definitely helping.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along. Oh, this is a good one. I need a hot drink. Why? Because I have a stupid cough, and the hot drink, not the cold drink, the hot drink will help me stop coughing. And drinking hot water, I mean, who does that? So I'm going to have a coffee, or I'm going to have a tea, or I'm going to have a hot chocolate. Now, this is interesting because coffee and tea are acceptable on a carnivore diet. But for some people, if they have a lot of healing to do, or they're, like myself, quite overweight. So you got a lot of weight to lose. Sometimes that tea and coffee is actually a hindrance, especially if they're putting dairy in. That can be quite a hindrance if there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. So that person may have made that decision to not have the tea, the coffee, the hot chocolate, whatever. But then they're like, oh, I've got this cough, or oh, my throat hurts. So I need this hot drink to, soothe my throat. I think that's a really, really big lie. What do you think?
I haven't thought about that one, but that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure that's what people do. It. Yeah, that's so. I drink stevia, so I don't do. I do stevia, and it seems to do pretty well with me. But you're right. If you put the dairy in the coffee and you're struggling to get the stubborn weight off, and even stevia can stall it also sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's really important for people to be aware of, okay, yeah, if you do need a hot drink, because I genuinely get a cough sometimes if I've had a virus that triggers a reaction. So in those moments, hot liquid is really helpful. But do I have to go to tea and coffee that's going to derail me from my goals? No, I can go to hot broth. So I can make a chicken one, I can make a beef one, like a ruminant meat one. They're super tasty. They support my goals. I can do hot
That's
water.
great. Idea.
That also helps. Like, I don't need to go to, cough drops or cough medicine or anything like that. Especially when it lasts for several weeks. You don't want to derail over that.
That's a good point. It could last a long time. Yeah. So when you do your broth, do you make it from scratch or do you buy it?
No, I make it from scratch. My husband has a broth. He found one. It contains carrots.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it's a minute bit. If it's going to keep you on carnivore and you don't have an issue with carrots, then I say, do it. But for some people who are having a lot of issues, I would recommend trying to make it yourself. And so all I do is I get my pressure cooker. I throw, some chicken wings or chicken drumsticks, or if I don't want to have a bone broth and just do a meat broth, then I'll just get chicken breasts and throw them in. If I'm doing beef, it might be like some ossobuco or something that I'll throw in there. It's a nice big bone, so it's easy to clear out. Um, and I just put it in the pressure cooker for 2 hours, and that way it prevents the histamines,
Mm-hmm.
but it really breaks everything down as if it was slow cooked.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of salt.
Yes,
Salt
a
really
lot.
makes a difference. So it's the meat, the bones, and the water, and salt, and that's it. That's all I put in mine.
You ever put apple cider vinegar in?
No, I have done it before, but I find that it messes with my stomach a little bit, but it also stinks up the house. It makes everything smell really not quite nice. And every time I've done it, whoever's been at my house or living with me at the time is like, that stinks. But if I do it without the apple cider vinegar, it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Good.
yeah.
That's good. That's great. That's a good tip. Okay, yeah, you can make it really fast in the pressure cooker. So very
Mhm.
good. Mm-hmm. Okay. Next is I'm so tired. I need this to stay awake or drive or work. So it could be a drink, or sipping on a drink that has carbs or dairy in it that is reactive, or it could be eating something. Like a lot of people when they drive, they want to chew on
Yeah, oh
candy,
yeah.
not jerky, licorice. Yeah, something they can chew on.
I remember before I found carnivore, I was driving to LA from where I lived. And so
Oh,
it was like a 12 to 15 hour driving day, depending on how many times we stopped and things. And I remember stopping at gas stations and getting those packets of pink only Starburst.
oh,
And and I would constantly have one in my mouth and be chewing. And I would stop at every gas station and get another one. I probably ate 3 or 4 of those in a day, plus other stuff. By the
mhm.
time I got to the destination, I felt so sick to my
Yeah,
stomach. And it's like, oh, I've got to have this to stay awake. Well, no, there's better options.
yeah. Okay, let's talk
Um,
about what you were just saying. You felt sick. So you're when people are just chewing and that on the candy as they drive, it's so many carbohydrates, it's so
oh,
much
mhm.
sugar, and we can't. The body is circulating insulin every time it tastes the sugar and ingests the sugar. It's circulating more insulin and more insulin, so it's flooding the system with
Oh, yeah.
insulin. So it's going just for our listeners. It's going to increase the inflammation and the fat. So you can't burn fat when you're just constantly trying to burn off this sugar,
No.
and you're putting it back in constantly. And the other thing is the candies have dye in them, like red dye,
Yes.
blue, yellow, uh, green. The dyes can make you feel horrible. They can also cause anxiety. They can cause people to act out, act irrationally, and children especially. And it's addictive. Like it's created to be addictive.
Hmm.
So, and you start to associate driving with eating
Eating.
carbohydrates. Yeah, sugar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with this one, I'm so tired. I need to stay awake, drive work, like our options. So there are several options. If you're someone who drinks tea or coffee as part of a carnivore diet, that can be a helpful one. People use that often. Um, if you're limiting dairy, then drink it black. Like if you really need to stay awake, you'll drink it black. You won't drink it with the cream, and then that helps you achieve your goals. Hydration is a big part of staying awake and having energy, but also just pulling over for 10, 15 minutes and taking a bit of a nap. Obviously, that's hard to do at work. The other thing is we may not be eating enough, because when we're under eating in calories, that can also make us tired.
Wow.
So making sure that we're actually eating enough as well. And if you're consuming tea and coffee to wake up, it's an appetite suppressant. So it delays when you're going to eat next. Then you get tired because you haven't eaten enough, and you have another tea or coffee to have the energy, and the cycle continues. And so that's where I think like this one's a really big lie is, oh, I'm so tired, I need this to stay awake. Well, have a
Yeah.
look. Are you hydrated? Have you eaten enough? Do you need to take a nap? And can you, those kind of things.
You could also take a little jog around the parking lot.
Yeah, getting some fresh air, getting the sun in your eyes, like
The
even on a
sun.
cloudy
Yeah.
day,
Right.
just going outside for 60 seconds and breathing some fresh air is a really good reset. Absolutely. 3 days a week at work, I work for a 10-hour day. I
Wow.
get an hour for lunch. We have 2 hours where we don't have patients, and one of those hours is my lunch. And, I live pretty close to home. So I'm able to drive home, have lunch, drive back. And that drive can be a little bit stressful. I want to make sure I'm not in an accident. I want to get home with enough time to eat. I also want to be able to get back to work and not get stuck in traffic and be late. And so I was staying at work, and I was taking my lunch to work and staying at work. One, it meant that I wasn't eating as well. But the
Mhm.
other thing it meant that I wasn't leaving my offices. So even if I was going for a walk out in the parking lot, that was still helpful. But because it also wasn't benefiting my food. And so now, every single day that I have that 10-hour shift, I drive home for lunch. And as long as it's not raining hard, I will put the windows down a crack to get that fresh air in, to get that sunlight in. And just those two drives back and forth, getting out of the car, getting in the air, that's that reset that I need to help me for the afternoon hours.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important for us to do.
Can we talk about that protein that you were talking about, getting enough protein and fat?
Getting enough protein and fat. Hmm.
So for our listeners, um, if you aren't tracking it, track at the end of the day, you can put it into Chat GPT, just voice text it in and say, I've had, and list all the food you ate and say, add up the protein, fat, and carbohydrates of my day, and see if y'all are getting enough protein and fat.
Absolutely.
Hey, I mean carnivore protein and fat, because carnivore protein and fat is what we build our bodies on. And you might be surprised that if you're getting enough protein or fat. So, for example, if you're eating 2 eggs for breakfast, that's only about 8 grams of protein. So, and I try to eat like 110 grams of protein a day. So it's really hard to get enough protein and carnivore fat in if you're putting in any carbohydrates at all. So it's helpful for me to put it in to
Yes.
ChatGPT.
And
Yeah.
also, the other thing with that is the ratio of fat to protein. So for men, their sweet spot on carnivore seems to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So that's like a ribeye steak is a 1-to-1 ratio. Bacon is a 1-to-1 ratio. Eggs with, I think it's like 1 tablespoon of butter is a 1-to-1 ratio. I think it's like 4 eggs. But for women, uh, it's often found that the 2-to-1 fat to protein ratio is what is ideal. So
Wow.
that's like a ribeye with a tablespoon of butter, bacon with a tablespoon of butter, or the 4 eggs with 2 tablespoons of butter. And then so if your fat to protein ratio isn't right for what your body needs, that will also cause you to be a bit tired as well.
Another thing is that I like to test on my clients for a digestive enzyme if they have
Mm,
any gut issues, especially if they're over 35 or 40, because most women that I've found need a digestive enzyme if they have any gut issues. So they're not, even though they're eating the fat and protein, they aren't metabolizing it because it's not getting absorbed.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, oh, this next one. This next one is fun. This says, I just enjoy good food. I'm not addicted. Okay, so let's put it this way. I'm gonna pretend that Jenny here, we're gonna pretend that she's a cocaine addict. And Jenny's like, I just love Coke. It's so good. No, Jenny, no. Coke's addictive. You're just addicted. That's your addiction talking. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what this is. Like, I just enjoy good food. I'm not addicted. So when we say good food, what are we typically
Right.
talking about? We're not talking about um home cooked salads and veggies that aren't coated in seed oils and sauces.
Right.
We're talking about pizza. We're talking about burgers. We're
Mhm.
talking about Mexican, and we're often going out to restaurants for these things. And so we don't know how they're cooked. Or we're talking about chocolate and desserts like cheesecakes and ice creams and things like that. So, all of these foods, what we know about them is that they contain sugar,
Mhm.
and sugar is more addictive than cocaine.
Yeah. And by
So
sugar, we
tell me
mean,
how you're not addicted.
yeah, sugar is more addictive than cocaine. And let's just say carbohydrates so that we're not confusing the newer types of people new to this. Yeah. So the carbohydrates are, it's the most addictive thing in the world. It's the most
Absolutely.
prevalent addiction in the world, carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
100%.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And some people can moderate. you
Mhm,
know, um, if we look at alcohol as an example, there are people who are abstainers. They can't sniff it, they can't lick it, they can't be, and sometimes they can't even be around it. But then there's
mhm.
people who can moderate. I'm one of those. My husband's one of those. If we wanted to have a sip of alcohol or we even wanted to have a glass, we actually could, and we would totally be able to moderate that. But when it comes to carbohydrates, tell me who's going to stop at one Oreo, or who's going to stop at one corn chip or one potato chip or one fry, or like almost no one. It's very hard with things like that to stop. And that's where the addiction definitely comes in. And someone may still be able to moderate, but you put them in front of a bowl of potato chips and those things are addictive,
Mhm.
and they'll eat more than one, they'll eat several, they'll probably eat more than intended. That person may not necessarily be addicted to carbohydrates, but you can still see the addictiveness of certain carbohydrates play out.
Yeah. Yeah. And some carbohydrates have have other things included that also make them even more addictive. Like
Mhm.
they like this, if you have a Doritos, like I literally don't keep things like that in my house because I'd want to eat the whole bag, and then when I got through with that bag I'd want another bag because it doesn't satisfy. It's a spiritual issue. It's a spiritual mirror that the world cannot satisfy what God has created.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so like a Dorito has the it has excitotoxins, the MSG type of spices on it, and it has red dye probably in it too, or orange. Yeah, so it's compounding. It's, well, they created to make people fail. That's why we can't have these things in our presence in our house. We can't just keep it. You can't even keep it in the garage because
No,
if
agreed.
will go seek it out. Like if you have a child and that child knows there's a red popsicle that that child loves in the freezer. If you, it's almost cruel to keep it in the freezer until, and they can reach in there and get it, but to say you can only have one a week or one a day or whatever,
Yeah.
because it's cruel because they can't they have such a desire to eat that red popsicle that they're just going to want to open that drawer and grab it, even though you've told them no. It's really cruel, an unusual
Yeah.
punishment. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
can't.
agree.
It's like if you, like you said, if you had a crack addict, you wouldn't keep crack in your pantry.
No,
You
you
wouldn't keep
wouldn't.
it on your property. It's the same thing, and people expect children to say, "Okay, mom, I won't reach in there and get that red popsicle. I won't reach in there and get the Doritos." Like it's almost like they almost can't resist it. It's almost the
Mhm.
same thing. I don't want to say they can't, but it's really it's really too much for them.
Yeah. So here's how I identify if someone is addicted to carbs. I would ask them this question. Okay, you really like good food. The question isn't, I'm not addicted because I really like good food. The question is, could you go without carbs for a month
Mm-hmm.
and be okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Could you just give it up just for a month and be okay with that? Because if you are addicted to carbs, those withdrawals, the desire to go eat them, they're going to rule your life.
Right.
And that's where I think it's really key to see if somebody is addicted or not, is how they approach those foods.
Mm-hmm. And again, if we're not getting enough carnivore fat and protein every day, then it's going to be even harder to resist all the temptations in the world that might even be in your own house because your spouse or your kid eats that. So
Absolutely.
the more satiated we are with meat, the more full we feel with meat and satiated to our core, the more we're going to be able to fight that temptation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This one as well is really interesting. It's free. After all, I'm needing to save money. I don't have enough money this pay packet. You know, when something is free, whether it's we go to a church event, a friend's house, you know, oh my
Work.
goodness, when we go shopping at Costco and they have those little taste tests, it's just a tiny bit and it's free. Oh, they get me. They have been known to get me so often, you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
know. Okay, so it's free, but the truth is the consequences of eating it are not free.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
You pay a price. You're going to pay a price, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, if you've got IBS and, you know, you love salads and you go eat a salad, you're going to pay the price for that, especially even if that salad is free. You will
If you
pay the
if
price for
you have
that.
yeah, if you have arthritis and you're eating a salad, you're going to pay for it because your joints aren't getting the collagen, the protein, the fat to build the joints, and then the inflammation from eating the carbohydrates like the gluten and the soy and the corn are going to cause a reaction, increasing arthritis. It's not going to help dissolve the inflammation or heal the issue.
Yeah. So here's another example. Over the Christmas period, I was serving at church at every Christmas service, and they fed us well. Like a lot of the food was relatively healthy. You know, there was barbecue one night, and yeah, I could have probably mostly done carnivore the whole time. I didn't, and everything was free. And so I ate my meals there. I ate my snacks there. It was all free. And I'm like, I don't want to go home and cook, but this is also saving me money. So the bigger thing was this is saving money in the Christmas season, you know, buying presents for everyone. Um, in 5 days, I put on 15 pounds
Mm.
in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, how free was that? Um, I wore, once it hit Christmas Eve and we stopped all those services, I wore sweats for almost a week straight because none of my clothes fit. So had I had to like leave the house, I would have needed to have bought a new pair of jeans. I would have needed to have bought a new shirt. So tell me, how was that free?
And yeah, it's not going towards your goals. So,
Oh
you
no.
yeah, so it is so wild how you can just a few days off your goals and you can be set back 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. It's so wild.
And the thing with that, just to like, you know, people hear 5 days, 15 pounds. People go like, what on earth did you eat? Like, it wasn't even it was not even that bad. Like, as I said, we had barbecue one day. I did not have the bread roll. You know, we had Mexican another day. I didn't have the wrap. They
Okay.
had these things called Kringles, which are like Danishes. Last year, I had so many of them. This year, over the course of the 5 days, I may have had five sections, and they were like small little sections. Um, there were chocolate truffles. Yeah, I had a few of those throughout the day. So I definitely had some of those. But again, not so much that you would think 15 pounds. You
But
know,
it's a chemical reaction, not
absolutely.
it's a chemical reaction, not like a bank account that's adding up. A chemical reaction causes an explosion. So exactly.
Yeah, there's so many different things that we have to consider. But the point being is that just because it's free, as in the dollars, does not mean it's not going to cost you more, even dollar wise later on. Like if I had had to purchase new clothes, I may as well have just, eaten my own food from home. Um,
Okay,
and, you
goes
know,
into if you do, you're going to look weird. You're going to look like a weirdo.
yes.
If you bring food like boiled eggs or bacon, or you're going to look weird.
So let me ask you this. Jenny, you think you're going to look weird? Would you rather look weird or feel like you look weird in a moment that you're probably going to forget about later? Or would you rather feel sick and fat and have no clothes fitting and, be really self conscious about your appearance?
Exactly. It's better to be weird and stand out and do the right thing for your bodies and for the way God created us to be than to go with the flow. Even if it's at church, even if you're with Christians who are eating all this junk and carbohydrates or reactive histamine reactive foods, we have to, even at church, dare to be different.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Jesus was weird. He didn't
Yeah.
go with the flow, he didn't go with the crowd. Einstein was weird. He didn't go with the crowd. Dr. Atkins was weird and he didn't go with the crowd. And, carnivore in some ways is related to the Atkins diet. There's some similarities there. Um, and so I say be weird.
Yes.
Face that self-consciousness, like acknowledge it and work through it if what it's going to do is take you closer to your goal.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
again, it's a spiritual issue. If we understand that with God's with us and for the decisions that we have to do the right thing for our bodies, that God loves us and He's going to be our best friend anyway. The Holy Spirit's with
Yeah.
us. It's a spiritual thing.
This next one, honestly, I get so angry at this lie. It makes me so mad. It's just a tiny bit. It's just one bite. It's just one meal. It's just one day. I won't have any more than that one lick. Like, surely you can have a lick. And I remember really specifically, I was at a friend's house. They're really close friends of mine. And we were at an event and they had like relatively healthy food that was there. They might have like carrots with hummus and things like that, just different little things. And they're like, oh, you can't even like try a lick. And I'm like, no, if I do that, it's like a gateway drug for me. I'll go off the rails and blah, blah, blah. And they're of the mindset that, you should go get your bloods checked because unless you get your blood checked, you can't possibly know that you're healthy. You know, disregard the way that I feel. And so, fast forward 17 months of me going on and off the rails with how I feel, how my appearance is, like the fact that I'm clearly overweight, I haven't been feeling well. Was it really just a tiny bit? Was it really just one bite? No, it never is.
It's a cascade
Yeah.
reaction.
Kelly Hogan has this saying, and if I get it right, oh gosh, I really don't want to butcher it. She said, um, one bite is too many, and many bites are never enough.
Right. That's very good.
Hmm. And
There's
so I think,
another proverb in there.
yeah, I think acknowledging the lie of, oh, it's just a tiny bit, or oh, it's just one meal, but will it be? Because it usually isn't. So acknowledging, hey, it's just one bite, yeah, but it usually isn't, is a good indication to not have that just one bite.
Good indication that, yeah, that it's an addiction that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's,
So,
it is free. It's just free. It is free as well. So,
yeah, yeah. So, Jenny, tell me, what would you do? Um, you know, it's your honeymoon
mhm.
and you're going to India and they've got all this different food that you want to try out. So you're a carnivore and you're like, oh, but it's our honeymoon. Like it's our honeymoon. And I'm going to a new country. I've never been here before. I want to try their food and their different things. Like, what do you say to that? To special events, to special locations? What do you say?
um, that's such a good question. Well, you might want to review your goals before you go. What's really important to you? Is the food the most important thing? Is the being there with the people you love the more important thing? Are you going to have any regrets after you eat this meal? After you eat that one bite of thing, is it really going to make you happier? You're going to feel more fulfilled. I have thought about this. We went to Cancun last year, and I didn't eat any carbohydrates. I didn't eat any
Well done.
sugar. I say carnivore in Cancun. So it is something to think about. I'd have to review my goals and how we're going to stay on track, and probably talk through it with someone like you. But I don't want to feel like crap while I'm on vacation. So I feel great after I eat a carnivore meal. I feel like victorious, great. I can take on the day. I don't want to feel defeated.
Absolutely. Same.
It's not worth feeling, especially if you have gut issues or inflammation like arthritis or histamine, autoimmune disorders. It's not worth eating the thing uh, to, it's not worth it. So, but
Yeah. So,
it's hard to do if you're alone. Like if you don't have somebody like,
yes.
it's hard to do sometimes alone.
So, Bella from Steak and Butter Girl, she and I got married in a similar time frame last year. She stayed carnivore the whole time. Through all the engagement season, through the wedding, through the honeymoon, she stayed carnivore. My husband and I did not. And we were looking ahead and we're like, "Oh, we know we're going to have stuff on the wedding day. We know we're going to have stuff at the honeymoon." Like just those, we
Mm-hmm.
could have recognized that and we could have made different choices. We decided not to. We had the mindset of, well, we're going to go to Hawaii. We want to try the different stuff. Like it's our honeymoon and you only have a honeymoon once, all of these things. Yes, they are truths, but they are also lies in the sense that they're taking you away from your goals. So you went to Cancun,
Mm-hmm.
you did carnivore the whole time. You didn't have any carbohydrates. You felt amazing. So I went to Hawaii on my honeymoon and I ate carbs. I definitely was a heavy carnivore, but I was also heavy carbs. My clothes got a lot tighter the closer and closer we got to the end of the honeymoon. That kind of thing happened. I also didn't feel as great. But here's the thing where trying new foods, whether it's a new restaurant, oh, I like to support local businesses and this is a new business, so I've got to go and try the food. So what happens is you try something you haven't tried before and you really like it and you want it again. And if it's somewhere in Hawaii or Australia or wherever and you can't get it, you then want to try and replicate it at home
Mm-hmm.
because the sneaky thing about a carb addiction is you might say no to all of the restaurants in the surrounding area. You might say no when you go to the grocery store and you're buying your groceries. But then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remember that burger I had with in Hawaii. I remember like the flavorings they put on it, but then they also put the coleslaw in it. That was an incredible combination. I could replicate that. That's like carbs are so sneaky. They'll attack you 6 months down the line with that memory because your body remembers how easy it is to get energy from carbs whereas fat is a slow release energy.
Oh,
So it's
good.
really important to acknowledge that, okay, yeah, it is a special event, or, oh, I like to try different stuff and this is a new food, but it's going to come back to bite you in the butt later on.
That's a good point. Yeah. Right. I have a homeopathic, actually it's a flower essence, I think, for craving control. I have a few different homeopathics and flower essences for craving control. If anybody wants to contact me, I can get them for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. And I'll put Jenny's contact links in the description of this episode as well. So that will be easier to locate them there. Jenny, what's your Instagram for people to like find you easy?
It's my name, Jenny Shain, JennyShain, Jenny Shain. And you can email me at jenny.shain@yahoo.com as well. And then on Facebook, it's the same. Yeah, let's talk more because we got a lot more. We're going to have to do some more episodes of this.
We
And some
do.
more.
We have so many.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can do a church episode also, Christian's episode about how to.
Oh
Christian food.
yeah, how to, oh, we don't want to offend people. Oh my goodness. No, we can't be rude. We can't be rude, especially in the South. Oh my goodness. We can't be
Right.
rude in the South. We need to
Uh-huh.
be polite. We need to be kind.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Look, I have got to the point where if somebody takes me saying no to food as me being rude, I've got to the point where I just don't care anymore. Because, okay, in the moment, they might perceive me as rude saying no, or they might be disappointed. They wanted me to try their thing that they baked and, enjoy that moment with them. But why should I kill my body? Why should I hurt my health
Mm-hmm.
to have a bite of their food to let them know XYZ? If I had a peanut allergy and they were asking me to eat a peanut butter thing and I'm like, hey, I'm allergic to peanuts, that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
And so all I can do is politely and nicely say, oh, thank you so much for offering. I'm not going to have any on this occasion. And if they want to know more, I'll explain more. If they don't, then that's fine. And if they get hurt about it, that is their issue. That isn't my issue. I was polite. I didn't yell no at them, because my health is more important than food. My health is more important than food. You know.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So go ahead for our audience. Write out your goals for this year. Measure your waist, measure your thighs, and write out your carnivore goals, your health goals, your weight goals, your fat versus protein goals. If you can get a DEXA scan or something, go ahead and get a ground zero baseline, and review those every day. Be committed. So we're going to go over these things when we go to bed. Just read through them when you get up in the morning. Just read through them. Say them out loud when you're in the shower. Say them out loud in the car. I am committed to this. And
Yeah,
I,
really good idea.
yeah, to
And
stay committed.
the other thing to do as well is start to recognize those lies. If you're thinking about having something that's non-carnivore, think about what you're thinking about. Like, is it a lie? Is
Yeah,
it because you don't want to look weird? Is it an appearances thing? Is it, what is the reason that you are wanting to eat that food? And what is the truth that takes you towards the goals that you want to achieve?
yeah.
Okay. And then we'll come back another time and we're going to do episode 2 of carnivore lies and food lies and see if we can shed some more light and give some more revelations on the truth around the choices that we make with food and what we think about food. Jenny, thank you so much for joining again today. It's been a pleasure working with you again.
It's great to see you. Thanks.
Thank you all for joining this episode. I hope you find that it is helpful. If you have any questions, please reach out to me in the comments. Find me on Instagram, That Carnivore Life, or email me, Emily@thatcarnivorelife.com. God bless your happy eating.